Get yourself a notebook with lined paper. There's nothing like a crisp sheet of paper when looking back at your notes. Loose leaf paper is good for putting your thoughts on paper temporarily, unless you have supplies to secure them later. Lastly, keep your notes organized by including things like titles and dates. Getting ready for class is important. A great way to get ready is going over your notes from a previous lesson and then looking through what's next. To go over or look back at and study information from a previous class is to review. Re means to go back to the old action, like return. When you quickly look through your textbook, you're skimming. Students can skim to find specific information, to remind themselves of something they have already learned, or to get an idea of what will be taught next. When you skim to see what you'll learn next, that's called previewing. Pre is what you do before another action. Previewing is a way to prepare for the future. When you are prepared, it means you have done what's necessary to be ready for the future. To be prepared even further after reviewing and skimming through future lessons, try doing some of the work. One example is to create a brainstorm. A brainstorm can be a list or a chart of your ideas to help with organizing anything you'll need to write about. Another example is to make a draft. If you've created a brainstorm and would like to prepare some sentences which can later be corrected, that's a draft. It's not the final copy. Helpful things to brainstorm and create drafts for are warm up question responses, structured grammar sentences, questions to ask your teacher about the lesson, reading or listening comprehension activities that you would need to explain in your own words, discussion question responses with either facts or your own opinion, anything you have to share about yourself, and maybe even some conversation questions. Brainstorms and drafts help you share information much better and quicker. Then in class, you can receive helpful feedback. Feedback is the response your teacher, tutor, or any helpful person gives you about the information you presented. Those helpful people can correct anything you've said or written. Try your best to remember that advice. Preview is what you do before your future lessons. Review is to go over past lessons. Brainstorm is to organize what to say or write about. Draft is your work which needs to be checked and or corrected. Feedback is the advice given about your performance. Prepare is to get ready for the future. Skim is to quickly look through information. The best way to have a long conversation is to ask information questions rather than yes or no questions. You need to use WH question words like who, what, when, why, how, and more. The person you want to talk to can respond with more than a yes or no. That will give you more information to use for a follow up question or for you to share your own response too. Maybe you'll seem interesting to the other person and they'll have a follow up question for you. Let's start with icebreakers. You don't want to make the whole entire conversation about this first question. It's just a reason to get them to talk to you. Since this lesson is about class, let's use our vocabulary words. Plus, you can never go wrong with a compliment. Say something to your fellow classmate like, "You did so well in class today. How do you usually prepare for lessons?" After your classmate responds, you can respond with another compliment like, "Oh, wow, that's great." Right after you give that compliment, quickly ask another information question about something you really want to know about them. Be careful though. Don't ask anything taboo like salary or politics. So now I'll show you some other ways to use your vocabulary words in a conversation. Number one, who gives you the best feedback on your grammar skills? Number two, where do you review your lessons? At home, the library, or a coffee shop? Number three, how useful is it for you to skim through your notes before a test? Number four, why do you think most students don't preview lessons? Number five, when have you ever used a brainstorm before writing something? And number six, what do you write your drafts on? Scrap paper or do you type them? Which way do you think is better?